Heart's suffering. Who granted liberation to Shishupala during the Raja Surya again? To make the necessary change of your life. And again, you all would agree with me that we are all occupying this false world, which is dominated by only hustle for power, for wealth, for validation, or whatever we are all running after. But have you ever paused to wonder what happens when wisdom refuses to compromise? What does it mean to walk away from a toxic situation in pursuit to higher truth, in pursuit to Bhagavan, and to clearly understand the teachings of our Shastras? And that was given to us. There's no excuse. It was given to us parampara. Long time. Bhagavad Gita 7:19, it says, Vasudeva sarvam iti sa mahatmasu dhulabha. That after many words, a wise devotee surrendered unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes. Such a great jiva is Sudurlabha. Sudurlabha. Very rare. Very rare. And when you realize Bhagavan Sri Krishna is everything, your ego dissolves. Your heart opens. It opens wide with divine love. And how do you realize this? By doing what you're doing here tonight. By giving up some of the precious time out there. By giving up that favorite couch. By giving up that remote control that holds you to that couch. To be here, to recharge your intellect with the name of Bhagavan. Shree Sukadeva Uvacha. Evam eta pura Govardhan Girna Pare Gopal
Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Satir chori mandura nagari gopal chori
Tirtani Sham Bhagwan
बांके बिहारी लाल की जय। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धु च सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणम त्वमेव। मेरा प्रभु तू और मेरा धन ही है तू, और हे भगवान, हे बंधु सखा, that you are mine, you are my wealth। मेरा सर्वेश्वर तुम हो, that you are everything हे परमात्मा, you are everything to me। मेरा जीवन तुम हो, you are my life। मेरा सर्वेश्वर तुम हो, मेरा सबसे गिरा अगर मेरा किसी के साथ रिश्ता है तो मेरे ठाकुर जी, तुम मेरे किशोर जी के साथ। My deepest bond is with you, हे दीन दयाल। You are my beloved राज किशोर जी। तुम मेरे माता, तुम मेरे पिता हो, तुम मेरे बंधु हो, तुम मेरे सर्वस्व हो। That हे प्रभु, I truly recognize you as my mother, I recognize you as my father, that he not, that you are my sakha, you are my friend, you are my everything, हे दीन दयाल। त्वमेव सर्वम mama dev deva, to your lotus-like feet, हे प्रभु, I surrender to you, हे नाथ। सबसे प्रथम मैं उस सर्व शक्तिमान वृद्ध बिहारी लाल, मोर मुकुटधारी, पाप की कंदम देवकी नंदन, पुनीत भावन और यशोदा की दुलारी, राधा की प्यारी, श्री कृष्ण भगवान के कोमल चरण को कोट अनुकोट प्रणाम करता हूँ। Devotees, I first bow to the lotus-like feet of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the one, the processor of all powers, the dweller of Vrindavan, the one who is the wearer of that peacock feather crown, the remover of path, the son of Devaki Ma, the one who is pure as Vayu, the one who is pure as wind, the beloved of Yashoda Mata, the one who is dear to Radha Rani. I also bow to my parents, my beloved Pitaji, Dharmacharya ji, Bandisarju Prasad ji, and my mom, my humble apology, she's here tonight with us. And to our Adharnya Dharmacharya ji, the most distinguished Dharmacharya ji, Paniji, Swaminarayan ji, my humble Alvidara. And my most humble namaskar to all these knowledgeable Pandits here tonight. My dear Bhaya, Panditji Parmeshwar Tiwari ji, Dara Panditji Hanuman ji, my dear nephew, Panditji Sumesh Tiwari ji, our own Mandir Pandit, Panditji Neil Vivek Sharma ji, to you wonderful souls I bow to here tonight. And my pranam to our Kirtan Mandali, to our Kirtan Mandali. And most of all, I bow to each and every one of you devotees here tonight that have the love and the magnet for Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Nigama kalpataro Dalitam phalam Sukamukaramrita द्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भाववान् मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः Nigamatau pitaro galitam phalam. That the reason for each and every one of you to be here tonight, Adi Shankarji, he reminds us in this beautiful slok that Srimad Bhagavatam is like that ripened fruit of that fulfilling wishing tree of the Vedas, no? And moreover, Sukhamukar Amrita Dravasam Yutam, that it is enriched with a special Amritam, with that nectar from the mouth of Sri Sukadevji, Sri Sukadev Goswamiji. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasa Alayam. Therefore, the devotees who relish this ras, this nectar, O thoughtful ones, the ones who are here tonight, he's actually speaking to you devotees. The ones who have all this love for their Bhagavan, with divine love for their Bhagavan, for the presence. Muhuraho rasika vibhavka. May you all, Muhuraho, may you all, moment after moment, drink that nectarine lila, filled with eternal bliss, filled with spiritual joy, and may you always have Purna Santosh, meaning may you always have complete satisfaction. Premsavaro Bhante Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Bhagavatam tells us, Tapasvino dhana parayasasvino Manasvino mantra vidasu mangala Hesham navindanti vinayat arpanam Tasmai subhadra sarve namo namaha. Beautifully, it starts with salutations to that auspicious one, the one whose glory comes from only austerity, from the one whose glory comes from generosity, the one who has all the intellect, the mastery of the mantras. For without him, welfare is not attained, my dear friends. Kabir Das nicely puts it in these profound words. It says, Sabsa dharti ka dhaj karu. That if one takes the earth and makes it into writing paper, lekani sab bhanaraya, and they take all the trees and makes them into pen. Sat samud ki mahasitaru. If one takes all the water from the 7 oceans and makes ink with that, Prabhu Gunaleka Najaya, that the paper will become full. The ink will finish. The pen will wear out. And yet, one would not be able to describe the greatness of our Bhagwan, or Bhagwan Sri Krishna. We can only touch the surface of that great Lord of ours. Devotees, with deep reverence, we gathered again tonight to listen to the sacred recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, you heard it night after night. You heard it that it is the divine nectar that flowed from the lips of Sri Sukadevji and was compiled by the great Maha Muni Sri Vedavyasji. No? And this scripture should not be treated like a regular book. It is our Shastras. It is the very embodiment of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. It is said that by listening with faith, with devotion, the heart becomes purified, the mind becomes sanctified, it becomes peaceful, and life finds the true direction, its true purpose here. Life finds that. And tonight I ask each and every one of you to set aside all worldly distraction and immerse yourself in this divine Katha, so that bhakti, jnana, vairagya, so that devotion, knowledge, and detachment would naturally awaken within you. Devotees, you have to do this for yourself. Devotees, the Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran teaches us that in this age of Kali, in this age of distraction, in this age of restlessness, the simplest and most effective spiritual practice is, and you heard that from Panditji Sumesh the other night, is Sravanam. No? Sravanam. Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Para Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Vyasam Shakyam Atma Nivedanam. If you constantly engage yourself in breathing, and this is what Dharmacharya was telling me in the little room there this afternoon. If you constantly in being inquisitive of this breath, this Mahashastras of ours, if you constantly listen to the teachings, if you remember or sing the Leela of Bhagavan with devotion, it brings you the bhakta, inner clarity, emotional strength. It brings you and it brings you that divine love for who? For Bhagavan Sri Krishna. We heard time and time again, Raja Parikshit attained liberation in just 7 days by listening to the secret text from the lips of Sri Sukadevji. Because the Katha was not only entered, just didn't enter his ear, but it flowed directly to his heart. You know who else this happened to? This happened to Mahavir Swami. You know, every first Tuesday night here at Mandir, we sit in beautiful satsang and we recite the Sundarkam. First Tuesday every month. And one of the things we learned during that when Mahavir Swami went on his knees to Mata Sita, her voice didn't just touch his ears, but it magnetized and it went down beautifully to his heart. Inspired by that, allow me to undertake tonight's Katha, not only as a message, my dear devotees, but as a journey, an inward journey with Bhagavan. Let us listen not just with our ears tonight. Let's try to do something different tonight, but with our hearts. So that the teachings can transform. Yes, they can be transformed and transform your lives. So that the little time that's left here, but it always says, long time gone, short time left. The little time that left here on Bhumi Devi can be meaningful to each and every one of us. No? To each and every one of you. All the saints and the sages, they attend the assembly of Raja Parikshit Maharaj. And if you go back in that assembly, you had Maharishi. Maharishi is like Atri Muni, like Vashishta Muni, like Chayavan Muni, Maharishi Bigur, you had Angira Rishi, you had Parasar, Vishwamitra. So all of these great Maharishi, they were there. And what's more, even Narad Muni was there, no? Narad Muni was there, and he attended. And all these great Rishi, what were they? They were the Dikpalas. They were the guardians of the direction of that area. There was no room for any adharma, for adharmic action. Sri Sukadevji, however, he made it unmistakably clear. What he said here, he says, Tasmai Subhadra Sarvasi, that the only means to attain good fortune is to surrender oneself to Bhagavan, that there is no other way. Tonight we are very fortunate to have all these Brahman Pandits here tonight from the Brahman Sabha to attend this beautiful yajna, these few sessions listening to the name of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. I bow to each and every one of you tonight. I feel terrible for not being here for the past couple of nights. That these Pandits Pandits travel from all the way Maryland. He left 2 o'clock one morning and he drove with his family here. Why? To make us understand who Bhagavan Sri Krishna is, who Vishnu Bhagavan is, who Lakshmi Mata is, who Prabhu Sri Ram really is. And if that was not enough, for the Hanuman, he walked part of Montreal, and then he took a boat over the Thousand island by island, and he got to the other side. Alright? Right, Baba? To Kingston. And then he took that horse cart and he got here. No? This is what they did. They sacrificed their family to be here with us at Hindu Center. How wonderful this is. How wonderful. I bow to you guys. And this is what was going on in Naimisharan for us. Where these great Maharishis, they didn't want nothing else but to listen to the name of Bhagavan. Every opportunity, every chance they had was at the feet of Bhagavan. Was at the feet of Bhagavan. Sri Sukadevji, however, made it unmistakably clear that the only way, the only means to attain good is at the feet of Bhagavan. Bhagavad Gita enforces this. Bhagavad Gita says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatham kriti purvakam. No? That those who constantly devoted and who worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. I make them understand this. I deliver to them. What he delivered to them? The GPS to those devotees. He makes it very simple so that you can get to his lotus-like feet. And this is our Bhagavan. Priya Bhakta Jano. हमें श्रीमद् भागवतम की उपदेश सुनाने का यहाँ अवसर दिया गए है. That we have been blessed to be here in this wonderful company. We have been blessed with this opportunity to listen to the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. And by now, each and every one of you who are here for the past 3 sessions should understand how great that nothing is possible. How great of a pilgrimage this is, that nothing else is better than being here. And this is why I feel a little selfish here tonight, that I had to go away to Virginia But we just talk about this word love, L-O-V-E. We're here to observe the presence of Bhagavan, to recharge our spiritual emptiness, no? Or spiritual emptiness, to make the necessary change of your life. And again, you all would agree with me that we are all occupying this false world, which is dominated by only hustle for power, for wealth, for validation, or whatever we're all running after. But have you ever paused to wonder what happens when wisdom refuses to compromise? What does it mean to walk away from a toxic situation in pursuit to higher truth, in pursuit to Bhagavan? And to clearly understand the teachings of our Shastras. And that was given to us. There's no excuse. It was given to us parampara. Long time. Bhagavad Gita 7:19, it says, Vasudeva sarvam iti sa mahatmasu dhulabha. That after many births, the wise devotee surrender unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes. Such a great jiva is Sudurlabha. Sudurlabha. Very rare. Very rare. And when you realize Bhagavan Sri Krishna is everything, your ego dissolves. Your heart opens. It opens wide with divine love. And how do you realize this? By doing what you're doing here tonight. By giving up some of the precious time out there. By giving up that favorite couch. By giving up that remote control that holds you to that couch. To be here, to recharge your intellect with the name of Bhagavan. Sri Sukadeva Uvacha. Evam eta pura prishto Maitreyo Bhagavan Kila Shaktavanam Pravishtena Tyaktva Swagraham Ridhimat. हस्तिनपुर के युग में कदम रखे जहन राजनीति और ललच थका रहे और अधिकार और नैतिकता कामजोर पर गई। इसके केंद्र में स्थिति था भगवान का यहाँ उपकरण जो थे विदुर जी ज्ञान और सत्य निष्ठा के स्वरूप। That tonight I would like to explore this deeply emotional but spiritual rich moment from the Srimad Bhagavatam. A meeting with just these two individuals, but two hearts completely surrendered to their Bhagavan. And if we journey back into the village of Hastinapur, where politics and greed collide, leaving virtue hanging by a mere thread. At the heart lies an instrument of Bhagavan. And this Bhakta of Bhagavan, that instrument was Vidurji. Although born in a royal family, yet he was detached. He proved to be an embodiment of wisdom and integrity. His courage was to speak only truth. His power ultimately led him on a transformative journey. Satyam Yanamanandam Nityamanakasham Paramakasham Goshta Prangaringamalo Lamanasam Paramasam Maya kalpitananakaram anakaram bhuvanakaram Shamaya natam anatam paramata govindam paramanandam. Truth, knowledge, infinite, eternal, space without limit, free from fear, and on and on. This kahani is not just about kings and attendants, but about the choices we face in our own lives, Do we cling on to what's comfortable, even if it's corrupt? Or do we choose the path of righteousness, no matter how uncertain it seems? And these are the questions that we should constantly ask ourselves. It says, do we separate ourselves from someone because their devotion is greater, because their devotion level is more elevated to their Bhagwan than yours? Do we separate from them instead? As Vidurji meets thou, a confidant of the divine Bhagavan Sri Krishna, a master of devotion and wisdom. This Leela that we are about to touch tonight takes a touching turn. Their conversation transcends time, unraveling eternal truth about the devotion, humility, and the fleeting nature of worldly pursuit. And the best part, these teachings are not just philosophical musings. They are deeply relevant to our modern life. Sri Sukadevji, he spoke, he said, Raja Dhritarashtra, he was blinded from birth. But this blindness is committed in impious activity to support his dishonest sons was a greater blindness than his physical lack of eyesight. And sometime in life, all of us, each and every one of us, can relate to this blindness that Raja Dhritarashtra had, because of what we refer to as love. We blindly turn our backs on wrong things because of attachment for our family, for our children, for our neighbor, for our village. We turn our backs when there's wrong things going on. And this was the state that Raja Dhritarashtra was in. Tonight I'm very fortunate to have my sisters here, my Rajan is here, my children are here, you devotees are here. We want to welcome my mom is here, no? It's such a beautiful feeling to sit here and everyone is here to listen to this kahani of Vidurji and Udao. It says that the physical lack of strength, because of this word love, the physical lack of sight does not bar one from spiritual progress. No, it says what arises instead. This afternoon we spoke about that in the room too. Hanuman Pandit, he mentioned the word janjat. No, janjat arise from these kinds of things, from these blindness that Dhritarashtra had. He says that Bhagavad Mahapuran says, Yada sabhayam kurudheva dheya kesa vimarsam sutakaramagrayam navarayam samipa susaya swasre harantya kujakumkumani. Admits the chaos in Hastinapur. Duryodhana, intoxicated by power, by greed, had unjustly won the kingdom of Raja Yudhishthira. And you all know that Katha here in that beautiful and tasteful game, no? The game, the deceitful game of dice, no? Duryodhana was fueled by his family. And who was that family? By his mamu, Shakuni, no? Shakuni was a master at the game of dice. And he represented Duryodhana against Yudhishthira. He manipulated him into gambling his kingdom. Not only his kingdom, but his wealth. The freedom of his brothers. He then even gambled Drupadima. And if that was not enough, he placed himself on top of that table. And after the game, the Pandavas, Mata Drupadi, they exiled for 12 years. And one of those years, for an extra year, Agyatwas, meaning where they had to remain unrecognized. So they were exiled for 13 years. The humiliation of Draupadi Ma in the Kauravas' courtyard, where she was dragged, insulted, and almost derobed, marked the nadir, no? The nadir, the rock bottom of righteousness. Her tears became a silent prayer, a plea that would eventually reshape the fate of Bharatvarsha. When Draupadi Ma was being undressed by Dushasan, it wasn't just the Pandavas who were shamed. It was the entire royal assembly, the entire system, and every person who stayed silent. And when we allow adharmic, when we allow injustice within us, around us, to go unchecked, we become participants of that action. Mahabharata reminds us. It says, Dharma eva hato hante, dharmo rakshate rakshita, tasma dharmo nahantavyo, mano dharmo hato varit. When dharma is destroyed or being trampled upon, the world, my dear devotees, is being trampled upon. When dharma is protected, each and every one of us is being protected. Therefore, dharma should not be destroyed. For if dharma is destroyed, everyone suffers. Bhagavad Gita in Sloka 1, and all of you know that sloka. Dharma chetre, uro chetre, samaveta yuyutsava, mamda pandavastaiva, kim kuruvata sanjaya. The Mahabharata war was fought on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, no? For the protection of what? For the protection of dharma. And those from the dharmic side were protected, and those from the adharmic side were destroyed. And the war was won by who? By who? By the Pandavas, no? And who was the Pandavas? They were the protectors of dharma. Protectors of dharma. In both of in the Ramayana and Mahabharata, the evil forces, you all listen to Katha, Leela, over and over. The evil force always get destroyed as the end product, as the end result. The Rakshas and the Rakshasi, there's no room for them to elevate. The evil-minded one, they all get tyagi, and they try to destroy dharma, but instead they got destroyed. And once that line is crossed, devotees, change is inevitable. When every single force in the entire cosmos fails, when it fails to protect a devotee, Bhagavan is always there to our rescue. Draupadi Ma was directly protected by her Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Bhagavan Sri Krishna, he blessed her with that unlimited sari. Because she had the Vishwas, she had the faith, she had the confidence in her Bhagavan. Krishna 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 bolo, Radhe 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 bolo. Krishna 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 bolo, Radhe Radhe Radhe. Krishna 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 bolo,
Radhe 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 bolo. Krishna 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 bolo, Radhe Radhe.
Krishna 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 bolo, Radhe 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 bolo. Krishna Krishna bolo,
Radhe Radhe bolo.
Govinda Japalo, Radhe Krishna bolo. Govinda Japalo, Radhe Krishna bolo. Bolo Radhe Radhe, 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 Radhe Radhe. Bolo Krishna Krishna, 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 bolo Krishna Krishna. Krishna 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 bolo, Radhe 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 bolo. Krishna 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 bolo, Radhe Radhe Radhe. Krishna 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 bolo, Radhe 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 bolo. Krishna 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 bolo, Radhe Radhe. Bolo Radhe Radhe, bolo Radhe Radhe, bolo Radhe Radhe, bolo Radhe. श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। उसका भगवान उसकी मदद के लिए आए। उन्होंने उसके उस सूरत सा का वरदान दिया और भगवान came to her rescue. He granted her the boon of protection. He did. He says, उन्होंने से शारमिन ठगी से बचाया. Yes, that he saved her from embarrassment. There is always a catch, because if you don't practice the name of your Bhagavan, when you so need it, my dear devotees, it would not come to your tongue, it would not come to your lips. Even, and I don't want to compare, I'm not comparing, but even Maharishi Valmiki Ji had to practice Ram Ram, Ram Ram, no? Even him had. And once we call on that Bhagwan, the one with all the compassion, the one that is full, called with full of faith, he will always be there. And Draupadi Ma, that's what she did. She did not just use her lips, but she called from her heart. She called from her heart. And Bhagwan promised his devotees that he will protect whenever you need him. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jyote Divya Dharmena Jetasya Sadho Satyavanam Hasya Manam Gatasya Naya Chatodhat Samayena Dhayam Tamojushano Yadajta Shatro. Raja Yudhishthira, he bore his exile. It says here in Mahapuran that he bore his exile with dhirya or kripa. That with all his patience, he bore it with grace, my dear devotees. But when the years of exile had ended, and he returned to claim his rightful share of the kingdom, Duryodhana, consumed by low or ahamkar, by greed and arrogance, refused to honor his word. In this moment of maha injustice, of great injustice, Yudhishthira, he turned to Bhagavan Sri Krishna to mediate peace. And as Bhagavan Sri Krishna, he entered into the Kaura's courtyard as a messenger of the Pandavas. His words carry the weight of wisdom and the promise of harmony. Not to all, but to the virtuous souls like who? Like Bhishma Pitamaha, like Dronacharya, like Pulasya Muni, and many more great Munis. And his message was like nectar. It was sweet, it was meaningful, it was profound to their ears. But the wicked hearts that was led by Duryodhana were deaf of his counsel, blinded by their greed and pride. Bhagavan Sri Krishna, he did not accept the opulence and hospitality of Duryodhana. Is Bhadamahal, where greed and deceit resides. Instead, he chose to stay in the humble yet pious home of Viduraji, a man of wisdom and devotion, who welcomed him with pure love, with simplicity. Sabse ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई। दुर्योधन को मेवा क्या हो, दुर्योधन को मेवा क्या हो, सारथी गुर भरभाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई। प्रेम के भसन पर सेवकी ने, प्रेम के भसन पर सेवा की ने, आप बने हरि नाये, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई। There is no need for an invitation. Bhagavan found solace in Vidurji's home, a place where dharma thrived. He says that this visit should remind all that Bhagavan dwells in not in grandeur, but where sincerity and righteousness prevails. He says in Ramayana, Bhagavan Sri Ram, he found that beautiful path covered with flowers, no? Covered with flowers. That was prepared by who? By Shivri Ma. Jute pal Shivri ke kaaye, jute pal Shivri ke kaaye, bahu vidhi prem lagaye, sabse ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई, सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई। Over and over we hear that Katha where she ate that jute bhair, jo sabse mita phal tha. It was the sweetest of prasadam. It was the sweetest of fruit, my dear devotees. Vidurji, wisest among the Kauravas, and a man of unwavering integrity, he repeatedly warned Raja Dhritarashtra about the consequences of supporting Duryodhana's arrogance. Vidurji bole, he says, "Ab tumhe Yudhishthir ko uska ved hissa lautana chahiye." That, oh my dear brother, you must return the legitimate share to Yudhishthir. जिसके कोई दुश्मन नहीं है, that who has no enemies, और जो तुम्हारे गलितों के कारण अनागिनात पापियों को सहन कर रहा है, that he has been forbearing through untold suffering due to your offenses. He urged that blinded king to abandon his blind love for his son and embrace Dharma, embrace Bhagavan. And up to today, Vidurniti remains a treasure, trove of ethical principles. Even today, my dear devotees, however blinded by his attachment, Raja Dhritarashtra ignored Vidurji's counseling. Duryodhana got enraged by Vidur. Because there was too much Satyam Jnanamanantam, there was too much Pulavan. He says that, remind him that he is a Dasi Putra, and order his explosion. Duryodhana was being encouraged by his brother Karan and Shakuni. They both add fuel to the fire. And being pierced by arrows, Duryodhana, what he did, he laid down his bow and he laid down his load by the palace gate and he left Hastinapur, embarking on a beautiful Tirtha Yatra, embarking on a pilgrimage to seek divine refuge. And Vidurji is not no ordinary person. Though he was born in a royal family, he chose righteousness over comfort. In our own lives, my dear devotees, we often face moments where we think it's easier to stay silent or compromise. But Vidurji, he teaches us, when values are clear, the path to Bhagavan becomes even more clear. This is what Vidurji teaches us. He detached himself from worldly politics. His wrong was only for his Bhagavan, for truth and for devotion. Mahabharata, it says, Tyaje ekam kulashyarti, that one who renounced to protect family lineage should be the rule of the land. Leave places where dharma is not respected. Bhagavad Gita enforces all of this. Krishna Gopal Hare, He Deen Dayal Hare,
Krishna Gopal Hare,
Krishna Gopal Hare, Deen Dayal Hare,
Krishna Gopal Hare,
Deen Dayal Hare.
Pratved Priyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvasha Ahankara Vimudatma Kartaham iti manyate He Deen Dayal Hare He Nanda Gopal Hare, the Jew to the illusion of Maya, my dear devotees. By not accepting that Divya Drishti, man thinks himself as independent in every one of his acts. Absorbed in this false ego, man thinks that he is doing everything by himself. Duryodhana, however, was acting under such influence. As Vidur travels, something beautiful happens. His identity shifts. His identity shifts. And he was no longer a minister. He was no longer a political figure. He was no longer residing in a kingdom. Just the name of Bhagwan, Dina Dayala Hari, was on his lips. He was transferred to a seeker. He was transformed from a believer to a seeker. Because he wanted to find his Bhagavan. And sometimes we find fruit. Sometimes we have to look, we have to go there and find it. No, it's right here. It's right within you. We need to walk away from what's comfortable to find it. Sometimes we get too comfortable where we are. And every true spiritual journey begins exactly here. Ayodhya, he wandered through all the divine land. He went through Ayodhya, he went through Dwarka, he went through Mathura, and he traveled where all the groves, the orchards, the rivers, the lakes they were all overflowing with what? With purity. Where the murtis of Bhagwan were unlimitedly decorated in the form of mandirs. His heart, all the Vidur, his heart sought solace when he saw all of this. Not in worldly riches or power, but in the eternal presence of his Bhagavan. As he traveled, Vidurji heard about the destruction of the Kauravas, a consequence of their adharmic action. No? Eventually, Vidurji, he reached the bank of Yamunama, and where he stand there. And we have to, if you have to close your eyes to imagine, feel free to do this. But he stand at Yamunama, and he called out for his Bhagavan in the most beautiful way. What he did. Shyam teri vanse pukare Radha na Shyam teri vanse pukare Radha na Log karne meera Uyuni bhajna Log karne meera Uyuni bhajna Teri manse pukare Radhana Shyam teri manse pukare Radhana Log karne meera Log was appealing to his Bhagavan. Bhagavan smiled upon him, my dear devotees. He blesses him. He encountered this divine Jiva, this Nitya Siddha, Uddhavji, the dearest devotee of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Uddhav was renowned for his wisdom. He was renowned for his devotion. He had served Bhagavan closely and was deeply immersed in the Lord's divine presence. Brahma Samhita, it reminds us, Prema manjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadhaiva hritha yeshu vilokayanti yam shyama sundaram achintya guna swarupam govindadi purusham brahmaham bhajami. He says that those who are in ecstasy of love with their Bhagavan, the one who sees him as Swayam Sundaram, holds him always in their hearts. He says both Vidur and Uddhav, they were Swayam Sundaram. Both of them were such elevated devotees. And both, and through the direction of Bhagavan, they both came to the bank of the Yamuna, where purity overflows, giving them a chance to embrace each other. And this moment was most beautiful in that two devotees meeting, no? Two devotees that share the same values, both connected by love for Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Sri Sutta Devaji, he says that their meeting was never seen before. They started reminding each other of the past journey, and it is here where Vidurji asks the most natural questions. He says, "Bhaiya, मेरा श्री कृष्णा कैसे है? गोप और गोपियां कैसे हैं? वहां दिव्या दुनिया जो मैंने कभी जाने थे कैसे है? That how is my Sri Krishna?" He says, "How are the gopas? How are the gopis doing? How is that divine world I once knew?" Uddhavji, he was overwhelmed with emotion, remembering the Lord's playful leelas. His heart swelled with devotion. Tears flowed from his eyes. For a long time, Uddhav was unable to speak, lost in memories of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, his divine love, his divine grace. Overcoming his emotion, Uddhav spoke to Vidurji with a heart weighed down by memories of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. And why did Uddhav cry? He cried that moment because the news that he was about to tell Vidur changes everything. Everything that seems permanent was about to dissolve. And Uddhav Bole, he says, "Vidur, Swaminarayan Bhagavan ki होम के साथ है, समय का श्राप यदा उनके घरों को निगल चुका है और हमें दरिद्र छोड़ दिया है." Uddhav advised that with the setting of Swaminarayan Bhagavan, the serpent of time has swallowed the homes of the Yadavas, and he left us destitute. What well-being can I speak of now? These men are deeply unfortunate, and among them, the Yadu Vansi are the most so. That though they live in constant proximity to Bhagavan, the refuge of their entire universe, they failed to truly recognize Him. They who are intelligent merely regarded Him as the greatest among their clan. He says even Shishubal and others deluded by the Lord's divine Maya, that they could not disturb the boundless wisdom of Bhagavan with their spiteful words. The Lord, in His compassion, revealed His captivity form, His Viratru to all. Yet now, He has hidden it from us. These were words from Uddhav lips. The people of Braj, especially, were bound to Him by their very souls. When He laughed, when He joked, when He glanced lovingly at them, they found abandon. They would always abandon their task and stand motionless. Their eyes would only be fixed on their Bhagavan. Bhakt nihare ghanshyam naina nil bhare bhakt nihare None of us knows what's in the other one's mind. It is what the closest that Uddhav had for his Bhagavan. You know, this bhajan was sung by my dad before he left us. And when I was reading this Katha, I realized what he was trying to say. Naina Neeravari, Bhatani Hari, Ghansham. That hey Prabhu, I'm yours. Do whatever you feel like doing with me. Make me understand how to embrace you. Make me understand how to be constant at your lotus-like feet. And this is what Uddhav is teaching us. Impermanency is unavoidable. No matter how powerful, how beautiful or divine a situation may seem, time transforms everything. In today's world, we often equate strength with emotional hardness. But in Bhagavatam, the greatest devotees are those whose heart melts in remembrance of their Bhagavan. And this is what a Pandit has been teaching here for the past 10 years, maybe 11 years now. Embrace Bhagavan. When you sing His name, sing it with love. Cry if you have to. Because Bhagavan loves you. It says here, Kachit chevam devaka bhoja putraya Vishnu prajaya ivadeva mathu Yave swadharvena dadhar devam Trayeta yajna vidhanam artam. Uddhavji, he continues to speak, not just with words of realization. Bhagavan Sri Krishna was never just a Saka. He was the Vishwani Yantraka. The Vishwani Yantraka. Who out of compassion walked among us. When the Asuras created havoc, he continued, and the burden on earth became unbearable. O Vidur, Bhagavan, true, unborn, and eternal, descended in the Yaduvan Siklan. And who he came with? He came with Balaramji, performing all the Leela of birth in Vasudeva and Vasudevji home. He was taken to Braj in respect of Kansa, his mom. And there he spent his childhood in divine play, charming all who beheld him. How remarkable it is that Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the giver of Abhayam, the giver of fearlessness, appeared appeared to fear a human triumph like us. He says in Braj, Bhagavan Sri Krishna lived an extraordinary life. Alongside his brother, his bhaiya, Balaramji, he grazed the cows. He listened to the birds, sang amidst that lust of greenery. Bhagavan Krishna did that to delight the people of Braj. He performed countless, playful leela. As a child he cried, he laughed, and he captivated all the complaints. Mushtika, to get rid of this Bhagavan, of our Bhagavan. Bhagavan Sri Krishna defeated him. He defeated both of them. He did it effortlessly, as though they were mere toys. He subdued Kalyanag, the poisonous, a serpent, reviving the Gopas and all the Kamadevu. And to bless Braj with abundance, Bhagavan initiated that Govardhan Puja through Nanda Baba. So humbly they performed that yajna. And when Indradev, blinded by pride, when he unleashed torrential rain to punish the entire Braj, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the most compassionate one, lifted that Govardhan Parvat with his pinky finger as an umbrella to protect the Gopas and the Gopis. Yeah, and he lifted it not for 10 minutes, but for 7 days, my dear devotees. And remember the Katha, what it says, that the villagers, they stood under and they were frightened, they were scared, no? They were frightened. The cattle, they all stood under that Govardhan Parvat, admiring their Bhagavan. They had, and only then they gained the confidence, because they all had their thali with prasadam to worship him. Govardhana Girna Pare Gopal गोवर्धन गिरना परे गोपाल ब्रज की सखियन पूजन इसको ब्रज की सखियन पूजन इसको घर घर ताली मिठाई गोवर्धन गिरना परे गोपाल गोवर्धन गिरना मुष्टिका to get rid of this Bhagavan, of our Bhagavan. Bhagavan Sri Krishna defeated him. He defeated both of them. He did it effortlessly, as though they were mere toys. He subdued Kalyanag, the poisonous, a serpent, reviving the Gopas and all the Kamadevu. And to bless Braj with abundance, Bhagavan initiated that overdone puja through Nanda Baba. So humble, humbly they performed that yajna. And when Indradev, blinded by pride, when he unleashed torrential rain to punish the entire Braj, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the most compassionate one, lifted that overdone Parvat with his pinky finger as an umbrella to protect the Gopas and the Gopis. Yeah, and he lifted it not for 10 minutes, but for 7 days, my dear devotees. And remember the Katha, what it says, that the villagers, they stood under and they were frightened, they were scared, no? They were frightened. The cattle, they all stood under that overdone Parvat, admiring their Bhagavan. They had, and only then they gained the confidence, because they all had their thali with prasadam to worship him. Govardhana, girna pare gopal, Govardhana, girna pare gopal, braj ki sakiyan पूजन इसको ब्रज की सखियन पूजन इसको घर घर ताली मिठाई गोवर्धन गिरना परे गोपाल गोवर्धन गिरना परे गोपाल गोवर्धन गिरना परे गोपाल. Praise Guru Gopal Bhagavan ki jai. He says to the eyes of the villagers of Braj, they see the Bhagavan as Sundar Gopal, Vanmal, Nayana Vishalam, Dokaram, Vrindavana Chandram Anandakandam Paramanandan Naranidharam Valabhaganashayam Puranakamam Atyabhiramam Prithikaram Braja Nand. Imagine devotee standing there in front of the Yamuna, and his heart is here, waiting to see what Bhagavan Krishna would surprise him with. Vrindavan Chandram Anandakandam Paramanandanidharam Vallabhaganashayam Puranakamam Atyabhiramam Pritikaram Braja Nanda Kumara Sarvasukhasaram Tattva Vicharam Brahma Param Sundar Gopala Om Brahma Nayana Vishalam Dhukaram. That even in his humility, Sri Krishna, divinity shone. When he bowed to Vasudevji and Devakima and said, Kansa, Biyat, Putra, Vatsi Ai, that he says that forgive me for being unable to serve you as a son, due to respect for Kansa. His words reveal the depth of his lila. It says that he, Viduji, the thought of such moments fills my heart, fills me with unbearable longing. He says, he who bore the burden of the earth's suffering, who granted liberation to Shishupala during the Raja Surya, who made requests to Ugrasena Maharaj with humility despite being the Lord of the universe. Remembering such lila, Viduji, this leaves my heart restless. Truly, there is none like our Bhagavan, Sri Krishna. How can anyone be a Bhagavan's separation, my dear devotees? Even the asuras who opposes him or blessed by the constant contemplation of him. Even the asuras had Bhagavan in their heart at all times. Uddhav voice, it flattered. His heart heavy with longing. As the memories of Bhagavan's Krishna divine presence overwhelmed him. Listen to Uddhav. Viduji felt a deep sense of fulfillment. And he realized that Bhagavan Sri Krishna Leela were not mere stories, but profound lessons on surrender, on devotion, and the eternal truth that divine resides in every heart, in each and every one of us. Vidu's heart was burdened by all the sorrows of Hastinapur, what was going on there, was now listening by the nectar of Sri Krishna's love and grace. And just as Vidur left behind the palace of Adharma and seek truth, my dear devotees, we too can walk away from negativity and toxic environments, choosing a path of inner peace, of self-realization. Bhagavan Sri Krishna Leela reminds us that life challenges are opportunity to grow, and that the divine is always present, guiding us through the storms of life. This is his promise to us. And before leaving, Uddhav educated Vidu once more. He gave him the direction, the GPS, to find Rishi Maitreya Ashram. And that he will give you the complete knowledge of creation, of dharma, of devotion. As we close, let us to the feet of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Jai Nandalala, Jai Gopala, जय नंदलाल जय जय श्री राधे गोविंदा मन बदले हरि का प्यारा नाम है
श्री राधे गोविंदा मन बदले हरि का प्यारा नाम है
श्री राधे गोविंदा मन बदले हरि का प्यारा नाम है
श्री राधे गोविंदा मन बदले हरि का प्यारा नाम है
गोपाल हरि का प्यारा नाम है नंदलाल हरि का प्यारा नाम है गोपाल हरि का प्यारा नाम
है नंदलाल हरि का प्यारा नाम है श्री राधे गोविंदा मन बदले हरि का प्यारा नाम है
मोर मुकुट सिर धर बनमाला केसर तिलक लगाए
केसर तिलक लगाए
मोर मुकुट सिर धर बनमाला केसर तिलक लगाए
केसर तिलक लगाए
वृंदावन की कुंज में सबको नाच नचाए
ओ सबको नाच गाए श्री राधे गोविंदा मन बदले हरि का प्यारा नाम है
गोपाल हरि का प्यारा नाम है नंदलाल
हरि का प्यारा नाम है राधे गोविंदा मन बदले हरि का प्यारा नाम है
यमुना किनारे घेर चरावे माधव मदन मुरारे
माधव मदन मुरारी
यमुना किनारे घेर चरावे माधव मदन मुरारे
मदन मुरारी
मधुर मुरली सभी गाई
ओ हरे सब सारे श्री राधे गोविंदा
गोपाल हरि का प्यारा नाम है
मन बदले हरि का प्यारा नाम है मन बदले हरि का प्यारा नाम है मन बदले हरि का प्यारा नाम
When Vidur met Uddhav, it was not just a conversation, my dear devotees. It was a river of devotion flowing between two surrendered jivas. Priya Bhaktajano, if we take even one drop from that river, if you remember Bhagavan with sincerity, only then our lives become meaningful. Let us walk like Vidur. Leave adharma behind. Let us love our Bhagavan with full heart like Uddhav. Let us remember Bhagavan Sri Krishna in every breath we are blessed to take. As Uddhav reminds us, even the enemies of Sri Krishna attain liberation by thinking of him constantly. Let us, like Vidur, seek the company of the wise and the divine. And like Uddhav, immerse ourselves with devotion. For it is through such pursuits that we find lasting peace and joy. Praise the Lord. Sri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. Praise the Lord. Bhag Kund Bhagavan Ki Jai. Praise the Lord. Bhagya Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Radhe Radhe. Bole Radhe Radhe. Devotees, please do join us tomorrow morning as we bring this Sri Krishna Katha to a chant as we lower the curtains of the windows. And who took the honor of doing this? The living gem of Sanatan Dharma. Our own Dharmacharya ji, Paniji, Dharmacharya ji, Paniji, Swaminarayan ji. So devotees, go home and sleep for 5 hours. You don't need more than that. I slept last night for 2.5 hours, I think. But here my dada said that's enough. But Bhagavan doesn't want us to sleep. Every moment we have, the less we sleep, the more time we spend with Him. Long time gone, short time left. Just remember that. And every time you stumble, you will remember that. And you will say, Jai Bhagavan, no? Jai Bhagavan. And the only place you can fix, when your car gives you problems, you run to the closest and the cheapest mechanic shop. But the only place you can fix yourself, He doesn't want nothing from us. He gave us everything. But all He wants is our love. All He wants is our care. Embrace Him. Because every time we stretch our hands out, He stretches His hands and He just, I'm very sorry, I want to apologize for not being here for the past 3 nights. I can say that again and again. But we talked about love, right? We talked about attachment. And if I wasn't in Virginia, where my daughter got graduated, I wouldn't have served the purpose of a father. Because we all take form, different forms. We heard about this in one of the Katha, one of the night. We all take different forms at different time in life. And sometimes life takes us in all directions. But thanks to the iron board, we can be back and forth all over the place. And we can be here to serve Bhagavan. Please, mujhe maaf karta ho. Bhagavan Krishna ki jai.
And I said, Bhaiya, I don't know how long it's been, about 2 years since you've been here. And I said, my God, Bhaiya is getting really good at this. And so I felt very proud. And then I was thinking about this all day. I was thinking that, what if Dharmacharya Sarju Prasad was alive today? Come back to me and allowed him to stay on a little bit longer to see Bhaiya sit here tonight. And then Bhaiya sang Bhat Niharo, which I sang last night. And Bhaiya was thinking about you, and I really did miss you. And I know Bhaiya choked up a little bit and got emotional, but I would say that Dharmacharya would be very proud of Bhaiya, because I am very proud of my brother, my Vyasji, my Panditji, Manoj Prasad. I'm very proud of what he has done tonight. Thank you so much. Yes, beautiful. And his son is here, so Pandit Nitish Prasad is here, and I know it's not an easy thing, but this is a progression of righteousness. And Dharmacharya ji, and prior to him, and your dad, and now you, I hope that progression will continue to be righteous and be blessed. Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. Bhagavan is infinite, and so is his Katha. And to get to know and to understand and appreciate Bhagavan, even a little bit, there's got to be some exposure. And you all coming out here tonight, coming out since Wednesday, and listening to his glories, having at Hindu Center. We want to expose you to Bhagavan with the thought that more you know of Bhagavan, more you will have that craving like Uddhavji and Vidurji and all the great devotees, that you'll want to formulate the greatest, the most beautiful relationship with him, because he is everything. He's the only reality, and he's the only one that will bring fulfillment to your purpose, to your existence in life. And so we hope that you're enjoying Katha, and it is bringing some benefit to you. As Panditji Vyasji said, tomorrow night we will conclude our 5 sessions of Shri Krishna Katha just for this period, and our Dharmacharyaji will take the Vyas Kandi, and we were also introducing different Pandits. Panditji Somesh Tiwari was here in December, but my Dada, Pandit Hanuman Jai Prasad, all the way from Onshore, did a wonderful job for 2 nights. And we have Pandit Vivek here, and all of us, and hopefully we'll have, when we do our yajna at the end of the year, we'll have more folks coming out, being introduced to you, and you will hear their take on the Divine Leela Bhagwan. So this is all for you, for your benefit. This is a community mandir, and it is for your spiritual development, for you to grow and become closer to Bhagwan. And I think if you have some bhajans now, we have Vivek, all yours here.
और हरे कृष्ण की हाला, हरे नाम का प्याला प्याला, हरे कृष्ण की हाला, ऐसे हाला पीती करके चला चले मतवाला। हरे नाम का प्याला और हरे कृष्ण की हाला, हरे नाम का प्याला प्याला, हरे कृष्ण की हाला, ऐसे हाला पीती करके चला चले मतवाला। जैसी बाला और वृंदावन का ग्वाला, राधा जैसी बाला और वृंदावन का ग्वाला, कैसे ग्वाला मुरली मनोहर बको कृष्ण की वाला। हरे नाम का प्याला और हरे कृष्ण की हाला, हरे जप हो और हरे कृष्ण की माला, हरे कृष्ण का जप हो और हरे कृष्ण की माला, दिव्य ज्योति से निकल शुद्ध हो निकले मन की ज्वाला। हरे राम का प्याला और हरे कृष्ण की हाला, हरे राम का प्याला प्याला हरे कृष्ण की हाला, ऐसे हाला पीती करके चला चले मतवाला। कृष्ण के धुन में तन हो और हरे कृष्ण में मन हो, कृष्ण के धुन में तन हो और हरे कृष्ण में मन हो, ऐसे तन मन के मंदिर में कृष्णा हाला हाला, हरे कृष्ण की हाला और हरे कृष्ण की हाला, हरे राम का प्यारा। कृष्ण में बल है, कृष्णा धन और जल है, हरे कृष्ण में बल है और हरे कृष्ण में बल है, कृष्णा जल और बल है, हरे कृष्ण में बल है, कृष्णा जल और जल है, ऐसे जल चल में तीरो नारायण की हाला, हरे राम का प्याला और हरे कृष्ण की हाला, हरे राम का प्याला प्याला हरे कृष्ण की हाला, ऐसे हाला पीती करके चला चले मतवाला, ऐसे हाला पीती करके चला चले मतवाला, ऐसे हाला पीती करके चला चले मतवाला। भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। हे जगन्नाथपुरी में ठाकुर बने विराजे, जगन्नाथपुरी में ठाकुर बने विराजे, जगन्नाथपुरी में विराजे, जगन्नाथपुरी में ठाकुर बने विराजे, 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 जगन्नाथपुरी में ठाकुर बने विराजे, जगन्नाथपुरी में ठाकुर बने विराजे। काफी चोरी मथुरा नगरी, काफी चोरी काशी, ओ काफी चोरी मथुरा नगरी, काफी चोरी काशी, काफी चोरी मथुरा काशी, काफी चोरी काशी, वृंदावन में कर विराजे, वृंदावन में कर विराजे, वृंदावन की बाजी, जगन्नाथपुरी में ठाकुर बने विराजे, जगन्नाथपुरी में ठाकुर बने विराजे। शिव छोरी मथुरा नगरी द्वापर छोरी काशी द्वापर छोरी काशी झारखंड में चार बिहारे झारखंड में चार बिहारे वृंदावन के बाजे जगन्नाथपुरी में कांड भले बिहारे जगन्नाथपुरी में कांड भले बिहारे ताप भले बिहारे ताप भले बिहारे ताप भले बिहारे ताप भले बिहारे जगन्नाथपुरी में कांड भले बिहारे जगन्नाथपुरी में कांड भले बिहारे जगन्नाथपुरी जगन्नाथपुरी में कांड भले बिहारे जगन्नाथपुरी में कांड भले बिहारे जगन्नाथपुरी में कांड भले बिहारे।
And I want to tell you that, I want to tell you that one day I told the people that we have some selfish people in this Monday. And I said, see all the brass up here? You saw all the brass? I said like that. I said, she would not allow anybody to shine the murtis and the brass ornaments that we have, because she wants it to be the most beautiful decoration at the altar of Bhagwan. And so Didi Bina has dedicated herself through these almost 11 years that we've been in existence to our mandir, to our Bhagwanji, and to our community. And I want to wish her a happy birthday and God's blessings to her, with her partner in crime, Mohandradat Jai Karan, and then my brother. And the only thing is he gives me work to, and other things he has is Tulsi garden, and Bhaiya is so dedicated. Bhaya's flower at a certain length, I cannot do that. I make sure I water the rose bushes, I fill the water. Bhaiya is celebrating his 20th.
But let us ask Bhagavan to bless them as they celebrate this beautiful life. As we celebrate Bhagavan, we ask Bhagavati Ma to bless them both. सर्वशक्ति महामाई दिव्य ज्ञान स्वरूपिणे नौ दुर्गा जगत मात प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः सर्वस्वरूप सर्वेश सर्वशक्ति समन्विते भव्यास्या त्रयो देवी दुर्गा देवी नमोस्तुते शिव हरे शिव राम सखे प्रभु त्रिविधात निवारण हे विभु आज जनेश्वर याद ही पाहि मां शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम् भद्रं कर्णेभिः सूर्याम देवाः भद्रं पश्चिमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरयङ्गैस्तुष्टुवां षष्ठनोभिः व्यासेनादेव हितं गिरामः मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णु मङ्गलं गरुत्मज मङ्गलं पुण्डरीकाक्ष मंगलाय तनो हरि प्रेम से बोलो विष्णु भगवान की जय।
बिहारी लाल की जय।
Let the soul stand as we join the night.
के सिंधु तेरे आरती भागवत भगवान की है सारथी भक्तों अमर ग्रंथ ये मुक्ति पंथ ये पंच बड़े नंदलाला ज्योति जगाने वाला, नव ज्योति जगाने वाला।
ये अमर ग्रंथ ये नवमय जगमंगल की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से आरती, भागवत भगवान की है आरती। पापियों को पाप से आरती।
जाति दीप पावन पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला,
पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला, हरि दर्द दिखाने वाला, हरि दर्द दिखाने।
चलती है दुख हरनी ये मधुर सुभग की आरती।
पापियों को पाप से आरती,
पापों से है तारती। पापियों को पाप से है तारती। विश्वम माधवम कृष्ण दामोदरम हरे।
ये मधुर बोल जगबंद गोल सलमान निकाले वाला,
जुगली को बनाने वाला।
ये मधुर बोल जगबंद गोल सलमान निकाले वाला,
जुगली को बनाने वाला, जुगली को बनाने वाला।
श्री राम यही घनश्याम यही
सबकी महिमा की आरती। पापियों को भगवान की है आरती। पापियों को पाप की है आरती। पापियों को पाप की है आरती। केशवम माधवम कृष्ण दामोदरम हरि। केशवम माधवम वासुदेवम हरि हरि।
बोलो जय राधे,
जय राधे श्री राधे। जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे।
जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे, जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे।
ओ जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे। जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे। बोलो
जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे, जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे।
जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे। जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे।
जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे, जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे।
जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे। जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे।
जय राधे श्री राधे, जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे।
बोलो
राधे श्री राधे, जय जय श्री कृष्ण बोलो जय राधे।
एव माता च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। मन्त्रहीनं क्रियाहीनं भक्तिहीनं जनार्दनं, यत् पूजितं मया देव परिपूर्णं तदस्तु मे। हरि ओम्। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा, गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। हरि हरि ओम द्यो शांति अंतरिक्ष गुम शांति पृथ्वी शांति राप शांति ऋषद शांति वनस्पति शांति विश्वदेवा शांति ब्रह्मा शांति सर्वगुण शांति शांति देवा शांति सामा शांति देवी हरि ओम शांति शांति शांति। प्रेम से बोलो श्री गजानन स्वामी की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, श्री आदि शक्ति जगदम्बा देवी माता की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय, श्री लक्ष्मी नारायण भगवान की जय, श्री भाग्य बिहारी लाल की जय। प्रेम और शक्ति से बोले श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय, व्यास श्री महाराज की जय। सब कोई जय जय श्री राम।
रघुमा